Hello, frantic waving for you, the viewing several. Hello, folks. Dom Lawson here, already scratching my head and picking my ears doubtless later. Welcome to another delightful and ever so slightly pointless Iron Sandwich, wherein I talk about a thing. Yes, this one. Well, it's getting to that point in time of the year where there aren't that many more, big. mainstream albums coming out. There's a few things coming out towards the end of the year, but generally speaking, it's done now. So as a result, I'm going to be reviewing that was a strange noise, Dom. I'm going to be reviewing a reissue, if you will, and this time it's basically what's happening here is this is turning into QVC. Is that still a thing? Is QVC? Is that a shopping channel? Anyway, I don't know. I don't watch enough telly to know about this stuff, but I imagine that there are still shopping channels. That's what this is going to be like now, because effectively I'm just doing an advert for Trivium, and that's what's happening. Anyway, as you may or may not know, Trivium have released or are about to release, I believe, what can only be described as a lavishly carpeted reissue of their debut album, Ember To Inferno. Now, the interesting thing about hang on. I want to keep it on the 40 Winters t-shirt here. Listen to 40 Winters. If you like Hatebreed or Slipknot or the Acacia Strain, that kind of thing. Just getting it in there, 40 Winters. Yes, Trivium's debut album, because generally speaking, and particularly I think over the last 20 years, bands have made breakthroughs really with their first records a lot of the time, or their first major release. That tends to be the norm. You get that first flush of hype, and then if the second album is better or as good, then they tend to sustain it, and that's how bands get a career. But with Trivium, their debut album was I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know it existed, and I call bullshit on pretty much anyone who says that they were aware of Trivium before they signed to Roadrunner. Unless you lived in Florida, I suppose, or unless you're really, really dedicated to following the release schedule of Life Force Records. I suspect the vast majority of us did not know that Ember To Inferno was released at the time. But anyway, it's certainly worthy of a reissue, not least because Trivium have, just over the last, how many years is it now? It's 11, 12 years. Over the last 11, 12 years, Trivium have become... Somehow they have outgrown that initial thing of being, they're the latest hypey young metal band. I think possibly because of the way the metalcore scene seems to work these days, if it even is a scene. The more commercial you are, the more money gets thrown behind you, and so as a result, you get a lot of these really poppy bands doing really well, and that's fine. Whatever, doesn't really register on my radar at all. But Trivium have kind of done things very differently, and they've consistently made albums that were different from the one before. They've always evolved. They've always done, I think, interesting things with their music, even if you don't necessarily like everything they've done. They've always kind of done their own thing. I don't think they've ever been a metalcore band, and I don't think they've ever been guilty of the worst excesses and laziness of that genre, and so I think going back to their debut album, which, bear in mind, these songs were written when this is when Matt Heafy was 16. I think these songs were written and recorded when he was 16, 17. It's interesting now because you see them out there in Trivium. They're kind of part of the furniture. Matt Heafy is one of the most, I guess, recognisable frontman in our world, and widely liked, and rightly so. I've got to say, I've interviewed them a bunch of times over the years, got to know them pretty well, and I only have good things to say about Trivium. They're among the soundest people you will come across in metal. That's just the thing. So I don't feel any particular guilt about plugging one of their products here. I genuinely think you should buy this. If you're a Trivium fan, obviously if you're not a Trivium fan, don't spend money on something by a band you don't like. Good heavens. That's just in case anybody wants to comment underneath this on Metal Ham on YouTube or whatever by saying, I don't want to fucking buy it. Fuck you. Well, it's fine. No one cares, mate. Do be quiet. So anyway, here it is. I'm fiddling around with it and not showing it to you. I assume this is coming out on the compact disc as well, and doubtless you can download it straight to your brain using some fucking Martian death ray of some description. But for those of us that remember things and how lovely they used to be, here is Trivium, Ab Initio. it's a Latin thing, I've no idea. And there's the box, you see. White, I noticed, like Metallica's new album cover, which had a white vibe. Although this isn't revolting to look at. So, you know, I love the new Metallica record, but my God, that's a terrible cover. This, on the other hand, very nice, very attractive. It's a big chunky box here. Look, it's got the things written on the side there, same thing written on the side. Details on the back of what's contained within, and I shall show you while talking about the album. I mean, I listened to the whole lot back. This is remastered, I believe, full version of Ember To Inferno, plus the 3 demos that Trivium made around that time and prior to Ascendancy. So you've got a lot of pretty, you know, if you're a Trivium fan, this is killer shit. Starting with, which one is that? Oh no, I've got them in the wrong order. I've got to get them in the right order. Hang on. What's the first one? Ruba. Okay. The first one is Ruba, I'm told. Don't know what that means. I might have to ask young Matthew to explain that to me. It's called Ruba. As in, I've heard a Ruba. No? Okay. I'm not sure that even made sense. Ruba, the Red Demo, 2001. So, I mean, there were tracks here that I'd never heard before, and to be fair, they're all pretty decent. Especially when you consider he was 16 when he wrote them. I mean, that's not bad. But anyway, Ruba, of course, is on your lovely red vinyl. That's red vinyl. The second one, brilliant. I can't even begin to pronounce this. Careless. Anyway, this is the blue demo from 2003. So can you guess what colour the vinyl is? That's right, it's blue. There you go. Delightful. I mean, vinyl, the best of the formats, as you probably know. Then there's the Ember To Inferno. Right, you get 2 discs for this, I think. You do, you get 2 discs for this. Now, it's called Ember To Inferno. Can you guess what kind of colour the vinyl might be? That's right, it's kind of fiery yellow with kind of black bits in it. Well, nice. Really good. Is the other one exactly the same? Yes. Yes, it is. Well, not exactly the same, but, you know, same vibe. Look, there's your download code. I mean, they should be paying me for this shit. Fucking Paolo and his cat, and rolling in money. They're not. And then the last one is Flavus, the yellow demo from 2004, which features an early version of Like Light to the Flies from Ascendancy. So, again, for the collector, that's a nice kind of yellow, lemony yellow. Is that lemon yellow? Sort of. Don't know. I don't know the colours. I'm not good on the colours. Right, so also in the box, I mean, they sound great. They sound killer. It sounds way better. I've got the CD version of Ember To Inferno, the original one, and not that I bought at the time, not making that claim. And it's great. But the production on it could have been slightly better, really, and it's a little bit thin sounding. The remastering has really kind of beefed it up. That's the international gesture for beefing up there. Possibly. You also get this lovely booklet with some words in it that Matthew, Corey and Paolo have written with a pen, and their manager and the producer and Monty Connor, legendary Roadrunner A&R. All the lovely lyrics there. Can you read those? Yeah, that's big enough. Good. And that's it. Loads of lovely lyrics. What else do you get? You get a poster. There's a fucking poster here as well. Good Lord. If I was the kind of person that put posters on the wall, I would put this on my wall. It just says Trivium. It's a massive poster with Trivium written on it. Okay, so if you really, really like Trivium, then that's probably the kind of thing you'd want to put on your wall, isn't it? And then there's this, which is a stencil, I believe. So if you want to go and vandalise some public buildings, maybe, I'd suggest using this. Because Trivium will get the blame for it, not you. Or your dad's car, maybe. You know, something like that. If my daughter's watching this. Don't stencil this onto my car. So so that's. I mean, you get all. I'm not sure what this is retailing for. You know, I'm not actually HMV, so I don't know. That's for you to find out. Just go on Amazon. It's Black Friday, isn't it? Well, it might be. Who knows when this is going up? Could be any day. But yeah, well worth every penny. But I think. I mean, the only other thing I really want to say about Ember To Inferno. I mean, It's strange, actually. It stands up really, really well, and I think it stands up as well or better than a lot of the debuts from around that time. You know, if you think of Avenged Sevenfold's debut album, you know, it's certainly on a par with that, possibly better. And I think what I like about Trivium from back in 2003 when this originally came out. Bloody hell, when he was just a little teenager, bless his socks. It's how metal they were, really. I mean, I think a lot of people... It's funny, as you may be aware... I wanted to go on about this for ages, actually, but as you may be aware, when Trivium released their latest studio album, Silence in the Snow, last year, there was quite a kind of upsurge of moaning and, oh no, they've gone all heavy metal, as if a heavy metal band making a heavy metal record was somehow unexpected. I mean, I appreciate that there was one or two songs, really only one, the title track on that album, that ventured very firmly into kind of traditional, Dio era Sabbath kind of metal. But I don't know what to say to people who think that's naff. Do you know what I mean? I don't really... It's fine if you don't like traditional metal, but I just think it's a bit odd, because Trivium have always had that element in their sound, and you can hear it on Ember To Inferno. I mean, obviously, here was... Matt was obviously getting into stuff like In Flames, the Gothenburg sound, and obviously a big Metallica fan, and obviously a big Iron Maiden fan, and you can hear those bands, you can hear Megadeth in these songs, but it's not... Well, the one thing it isn't is a kind of cookie cutter metalcore record. It doesn't sound anything like Killswitch Engage, it doesn't sound anything like all the kind of awful bands that followed in their wake, playing the same kind of watered down version of At the Gates. It's like they do some of those things, but they also do a lot of things that you would find on traditional heavy metal records, and yet updated, modern, with a kind of a cutting edge sound for 2003. I think I don't know. It's just that it's with hindsight much more impressive. I think at the time when Ascendancy came out, I subsequently heard Ember To Inferno. I thought, oh yeah, well, it was a decent, patchy, slightly naive debut, and I think there is some naivety in there. You can hear it there's a tentative element to some of Matt's singing, the clean singing. His screaming's great. Frankly, his guitar playing is hard to fault, particularly for someone of that age. But yeah, maybe in the songwriting there's a little bit of a reliance on a formula and one or two songs that are a bit weak, I suppose. But I've just listening to it back again on the vinyl, it's a really enjoyable record, and it stands up really well against a lot of the melodic death metal and the kind of, the nascent metalcore scene that was beginning to start up. A lot of the best stuff from that era. I mean, it's no Ascendancy, I'll give you that. It doesn't have the amount of brilliant anthems on it that record had. And it's, it doesn't match up to Shogun or to In Waves or to Silence in the Snow, which is actually my favourite thing that Trivium have done. But, it's a really strong record. If you've never really heard it or listened to it properly and you're a Trivium fan, then get the box set if you can. I mean, obviously I got sent a free one, so it's not for me to tell you how to spend your money, but I recommend it. It's really good, and it's been really, well put together. It's a lovely package, the vinyl, different colours. I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. Hopefully you are too, because God knows it's a lot more interesting than downloading some files to your face. Right, so that's it. Trivium, yes, Ember To Inferno. It's called Ab Initio, I think, if you're looking it up. Available on the vinyl box there, and on the compact disc, I'm fairly sure. Support heavy metal, because it's better than all the other kinds of music, and listen to 40 Winters. Cheers, folks. More bollocks next time. Peace, love, and up yours.